Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Under roll call, we have 4 board members tonight. Approval of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the agenda with the additional item titled Agenda Item XX added to the agenda after public comment before the consent agenda as action item number 1.
Second.
Any comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Report. And the executive session.
The board held a closed session at 7:30 p.m. on March 16, 2015, and closed the session at 8:01 p.m. Present were members Kalani, McNeil, Humberston, General Manager Moore, and Attorney Dean Phillips. Absent was Dr. Soa. The subject of the meeting was the Carver Bridge and the possible legal issues revolving around that project. That concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll go on then to action item public comment. Anyone from the public who wishes to testify? Come forward, please.
Gentlemen, over here.
Yeah, I had a comment the desk. Yeah. Do we have a microphone?
Oh.
Yeah, I have
State your name and address for the record. Go ahead.
Stan Glashinsky, 16525 South Holton Boulevard, Oregon City. And I had a backside leak, I guess it was January, and it was a very shocking bill that I got. And I came in and, tried to explain that, it was an act of God, that, I didn't know anything about it. My house is 850 feet from the meter. There was no way I was going to hear it. And I guess the meter reader found it because he left one of the door hangers, and tried to appeal the bill, and some of it was reduced, but I still think it's very unfair. Have no clue how I would have possibly known that it was leaking. I have a water line that goes out to my garden. I don't know how many feet long that is, probably 1,500. It goes through a wetland. If that had leaked, or if that leaks someday, who knows what the bill's going to be. There is no way that I would detect it unless it was in the middle of this summer. And it just seems that there should be a more reasonable, equitable, public-friendly, user-friendly way to address this issue. I was given some relief. I wasn't. I was also told I can make $60 a month payments, to make up the difference, and I wasn't even consulted on that. I mean, maybe $60 a month is too much for me. So I just wonder what recourse. I guess I don't have any other recourse than to appeal to you and say, is there a better system? I mean, if you have a main break, you're losing. I mean, who knows how much it's a pittance compared to what flowed through this, PVC fitting that leaked, and yet I'm getting hit, pretty hard, in my opinion. So I don't know where to go from here except to bring it up and complain.
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Moore, can you tell us the policy on this?
The gentleman is correct that the only person or the only process that we have for relief under the bill, other than what staff has already afforded him, would be to come to the board with the issue. As you know, a couple of years ago, we dispensed with the leak policy. And what our staff has done is to try to do some mitigation, as you indicated. But you know,
if you like, what our current policy is we do provide what we're calling a hardship adjustment. So when somebody has a significant increase in their bill because of a leak through no fault of their own, we will take the volume of water, but we charge it back at the lower tier. So as you know, our tier structure is set up with 4 different tiers, and once you exceed 16 units, you're in that top tier. So we look at prior history, and then we move the volume of water, but we move it back to tier 2, which is our second lowest tier. I believe it's $2.11 per unit. And we have heard from some customers that they were hoping for more. We've had customers expect us just to wipe off the bill and charge them what they normally use. What we're trying to do is cover the cost of delivering that water, even though the water went to waste. And we've been doing this consistently with customers that have had these situations for the last couple of years.
So does Tier 1 cover the cost of the water?
Tier 1 is when our structure went to 4 tiers of water. Tier 1 was kept at that very low rate for the people that use very little, and I don't believe that it does actually cover the cost, which is why we go to the Tier 2.
Do we have any idea how much money we're talking about, how many gallons of water were lost, or any of the rest of that?
Well, I don't know, there's figures here, but, I mean, it's kind of Greek to me. I know the bill went from 100, well, actually went from 78 to 554, so.
So the consumption went up to 168 units in the billing cycle, and the prior year was 49 units in that same billing cycle. So it was a pretty extensive leak, although I have seen worse.
Yeah, I had one.
Well, it's not a matter of seeing worse. I mean,
I
it is just so unreasonable that, like I say, if you guys have a main leak, you know, you say you're trying to recover the cost. I mean, I work for the City of Portland Water Bureau, and, you know, whatever the difference is, you ended up charging me 300 something. Well, okay, you know, it's not, I don't even know where it is now, where I have that information here, but, I mean, that $200, come on, it doesn't cost that much to treat all this water. I know that, you know it. You are penalizing, you are kicking a person when they're down, basically, is what you're doing. The way you, I don't care about what someone else, I hope I'm helping somebody else, but I feel that you have kicked me while I'm down. And it's just wrong. It's just morally wrong, what you're doing. I expect to pay a little more. I don't mind paying a little more, but going from 78 bucks to 554 and then dropping it down to 300, whatever it was, 343 possibly. I mean, yeah, that helps, but you know, you can't convince me it costs that much more to treat that water. You cannot convince me of that.
I would like you to address
the board.
to the chair, not to staff.
Okay.
Not staff.
Well, I mean, she was the one that seemed to be having the most input here, so.
We're just getting her input. Have you had the leak fixed?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now, the weird thing is, it was draining into, you know, the ditch, whatever you call it, on the side of the road. And, you know, in the winter, after a heavy rain, there's water there anyway, and it lasts for who knows, a week or so. I don't generally look in the ditch to see if it's, you know, coming specifically from my meter or if it's groundwater perking, you know, into the ditch, so.
When you had the leak fixed, where was the leak?
It was right, kind of behind the pressure relief valve, where it was a male PVC fitting was screwed into, you know, a female brass
Yeah, they're
coupler or
probably sure.
something.
Yeah, they share there all the time.
And you know, weird thing is, I mean, I've worked with PVC pipe for a long time, and I can understand a female PVC cutting or fitting splitting there, but I've never had a male split there. It just, like I say, to me it's an act of God, and it's, I don't know, I'm just pleading my case, so I don't know what.
Thank you for your testimony. What's the wishes of the board?
Well, I would like to point out that staff did what the policy allows them to do to the maximum of their authority to do so. So whatever action the board may take, I want that pointed out, that staff did everything that current policy allows them to do on your behalf. I believe, if I understand the rules correctly, that the payments that you make are interest-free because of this kind of circumstance, so you're not even getting penalized there.
Well, I understand that, but my problem with that is I was dictated $60 a month or whatever it was, yeah, 60, I think. I wasn't asked, I wasn't phoned up, can you afford this? How does $60 a month sound? How does, you know, $20 a month sound? What can you handle? It was just dumped on me. It was $60 a month.
Okay, fair question. What can you handle?
Well, I don't know. I would say I could handle half that, but I'm retired. I got a very low pension. I wasn't in PERS as long as a lot of people were. Tier 2, I don't know.
I don't have a problem
I don't either.
with $30 a month. If staff can live with that,
Certainly.
that will help you, sir?
It would help me, and there may be, well, as it turned out this winter, I have a lot of bills. I have a daughter that's graduating from high school, and, you know, everything costs money.
Well, like you were, most of us here are retired too, so we do understand.
So-
I do have a procedural question. Is this an issue that we can take an action on, given that it is not agendized? Or will it need to be agendized for a subsequent meeting?
No, Mr. Chairman of the Board, you can take action on that. This is a public comment period, and he's following our established policy, which is, the next step is to bring it to the board. And so that's what he's doing, so.
I'll put a motion on the floor to allow Mr. Belinsky, how do you pronounce that again, sir?
Blashinsky.
Blashinsky, to make $30 a month payments.
Second.
Okay.
I'd like to amend that motion to reduce by half the total charges on the water bill.
Second that.
Okay.
We'll get to you in a minute.
Okay, so are we talking, it's been dropped from 554 to 343. Are you?
343, half of 343.
Okay, so that'd be 150,
170.
170.
170-ish.
170.
Would that be the same rate pay out?
Yeah.
Yes.
And my question would be, is that time, over what period of time? I mean, if we're gonna cut it in half at $30 a month, is that something that you're
That
gonna
would
be able
help,
to?
that would help me.
And so if you're not able to make the $30 a month payment, what's the expectation?
Well, if you can lower the charge, I can, you know, the $30 is very doable. In fact, if I'm able to pay more, I will pay more. I have no problem with that.
I'll accept the addition to the motion.
I'll accept it.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Warren is, wants to testify also.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Well, I guess one of my questions is, I don't mind you guys cutting his bill and stuff down, but in the north, it comes directly out of the plant, so the mixture cost ain't near as much as what you guys have to pay per unit from Southport, so I'm wondering if you guys are actually giving him less than what it costs that was lost. So did CRW actually pay out money to cut the resident from the south a deal? Isn't it like 76, 80 something cents a unit? So, you gotta factor that in. I mean, I'm happy you guys give them a relief package, but it's not fair to the citizens in the north if you guys set that kind of standard. And I don't think I'm out of line asking that question, bringing that up.
Thank you for your testimony.
All right, thank you.
Carol, could you answer that question?
The cost of water from Southport is 89 cents a unit, but our lowest rate that we charge our customers, all of our customers, is $1.90. So we are recovering the actual cost of the water. The other parts, components that go into it are the delivery, if there's pumping, and if we calculated it based on that, every single one of our customers would have a different rate, and we don't do that. We have one rate throughout the district, and this may cause a little bit of subsidization from one customer to another, but not necessarily from north customers to south customers. When you add the total cost of the water from our plant, including pumping and all of those other fees, there's not that big of a difference.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments?
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
Cam?
Before we take the vote, I would like to request that we take a look at the policy that was abrogated 4 or 5 years ago, where there was an actual relief program in place, and see if that's something that the board might want to reconsider putting in place. It was done before our watch. I certainly don't know the terms of it. At a subsequent work session, could we revisit that for discussion?
Would you put that on the next work session for us?
I have a brief statement. I tried, 2 years ago, to make that done, and nobody listened. They just dropped off the end of the truck. So, come on.
So,
And just so staff kind of knows, I've been in your spot 2 times, okay? One bill for $680 and one bill for $475. And I just said, okay, I'll just fix this and move on. And both times, one time we were gone camping when the leak occurred and didn't know for 4 days that I had it broken. And one time, like you said, it was during the winter time and there was no way to know, And with us only reading the meters every 2 months, if your break happens early in that meter read, oh man, you got a problem. You better be hoping that we have a break at the end of that meter read and you catch it right away, because his bill could be I don't know when your leak occurred, but it could really be big now, especially as water continues to cost more and more. And so part of this, I think we need to make sure that educate people on every now and now because of those 2 incidents. I lift my meter cover all the time and I look and see if that thing is spinning, okay? Because you can tell real fast whether you've got a leak. If everybody's out in the yard and there's nobody home and you're using lots of water, you've got a problem. But that's just part of the awareness thing that I think we need to educate the public on. I bet there's a lot of people who don't even know where the water meter is, and so, it's too bad. But I think it's a good topic and I think we need to look at it.
Okay.
can we call the question, Mr. Chairman?
The question's been called for. This is a roll call vote. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no.
Commissioner Hubbardston?
Aye.
Commissioner Kalani?
Aye.
Commissioner McNeil?
Aye.
Commissioner Soa?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Just for for education of people that have long water lines. I received a couple of solicitation in the mail for people that do water line work and insure your water line, so you might check into that. We may have that still somewhere. You can check into that and see what
They insure it, you
what
said?
they offer.
There's private companies that insure both your water line and your sewer line if you want to pay a premium to have it done.
I said relatively inexpensive, considering your situation.
I considered taking that out too, because I did have a leak. It can build up all fast. Now, we'll now go to the consent agenda.
Point of order.
No, that's consent. Ken, we're in the agenda item XX, action item 1.
I move that the board authorize resolution 15-2015 allowing Clackamas River Water to enter into a construction contract MOU with Clackamas County for constructing the water line extension as part of the Monterey Avenue Extension Project, which authorizes the board president to sign amendment number 1 to the MOU with Clackamas County to add $135,557 for water line construction costs.
Second.
Go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just wanted to give a brief report on the project. I didn't have a PowerPoint, but I go over the agenda right up since it was so 11th hour. I apologize for that. But the county bid this project last week, and we got the information as quickly as we could. So I appreciate you hearing it tonight. This is for a CIP that was budgeted the current fiscal year, 14-15. The Monterey Avenue extension. This is a county job where they're extending Monterey Avenue from 82nd to Fuller. And it presents an opportunity for us to put in a 12-inch water line with the roadway construction, and it will improve our looping that area, fire flows, that sort of thing. So we budgeted the project at $361,000. About $315,000 of that was for construction costs. So it gives you kind of an idea of the scope. The county's bids, I did go through and presented a listing of, I think they received 10 bidders for, again, this is the overall road job, of which the water line portion was a piece of that. And Elting Northwest Incorporated was the low bidder, the apparent low bidder. The portion of the water line portion was $135,557, so about a third of what we budgeted. That's good. You know, the county is doing their due process, reviewing the contractor references and their qualifications of Bully, and going through all the proper reviews of the contractor to ensure that they are the lowest responsive bidder. But from the information we have today, we recommend that we award, or that the board consider approving and amending the current MOU that we have with the county, which currently, and I provided this as Exhibit A, that MOU was set up between CRW and the county for design services and construction inspection services for the project. But it did not include the actual cost of construction. Of course, we couldn't do that until we had a bid number. So now that we have that number, the county is requesting we consider the bid as presented, and if authorized by yourselves tonight, that would result in an amendment or an addendum to that MOU to add the construction costs of the water line.
Bob's up there. Thank you. Any more questions?
One quick question. So the contractor or the designer is responsible for the inspection of the installation of the water line?
That's correct.
HHPR?
Yeah, Harperhoff, Peterson, Regalis is the, HHPR is the county's engineer that they hired for the design of the overall project.
So we aren't going to go through another episode like we were going through at Carver?
That's my hope. Yeah.
Mine too.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure, is there any idea of sending somebody from here out there just on an occasion to take a
Well,
look?
that's a good question, and we did have coverage on the Carver project. We will have coverage, staff coverage on the Monterey project as well. I will say that the complexity of this job is less.
Right.
It's primarily a road project. There is a bridge crossing, but it's about 50 feet as opposed to 450, is what Carver was. By all accounts, should be a much simpler project. I don't know a lot about Elting, construction firm.
Been around a long time.
But they have been around.
Jimmy's built a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we haven't used them particularly for water lines, but,
They don't typically do water lines,
yeah.
they're road builders.
They may be subbing that work out.
That's my question, do you know if they're subbing the water pipe?
I did ask the county that, and they were gonna provide me that information. I
Okay.
hadn't received it yet.
That would be good to know.
Yep, definitely. But we will be, managing the project. Yes, the county will be providing inspection, but we also have staff that will be part of that inspection as
Yeah.
well.
Okay, good. I don't think the county has much expertise in the water lines. At least that's my
No,
thought about it.
no. Elton's got 205, so.
Does anyone from the public wishing to testify on this issue? Seeing none, I will have a roll call vote. All those in favor say aye, those opposed say no.
Commissioner Humbertston?
Aye.
Commissioner Kalani?
Aye.
Commissioner McNeil?
Aye.
Commissioner Soa?
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
We now go on to the consent agenda.
Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second?
Any comments or questions?
Not this time.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Informational reports, Mr. Moore.
Commissioners, as you know, this is budget month and budget period, and we essentially have two budgets that that we're working on. One is the CRW budget, and the other one is the commission budget. And fortunately, we have a CFO that's doing double duty, so she's got three budgets. But staff is spending quite a bit of time on that. It seems like things are going relatively well. I haven't seen any real hiccups. One of the things that we are doing, just as an FYI, because I can't really get into too much detail until we actually have a meeting, is that Ms. Bryke and myself have kind of looked into our revenue, and we have, or she has, basically lowered some of our revenue forecasting during the months of August and September in the event that we have some kind of curtailment activity. And we'll talk about that more as we get into our budget meeting, but I just want to kind of bring that to your attention. The other activity that we've been involved in.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
When's the first budget commission hearing?
April 23rd.
Another question, is that included in the calendar that the staff sent out?
Yes, you should have it in your
Yeah, it's right
calendar.
here.
Go ahead with your report.
Okay.
Get a chance to read the back.
The other item is that that we've had, I think some of you know that we've had a long affiliation with the Clackamas Low League in the sense of our Rivergate Park. They have been extremely helpful in helping us mitigate some of the issues that we've had there with problem people coming in there and doing things that are not appropriate. And since they've been using the park, that we've been able to reduce a lot of that negative activity. They tell us that They have over 200 youngsters involved in the Little League and have been very successful. And we're looking at some additional improvements that we need to make in the park. One of which is that we've known for quite some time that the public restroom that we have down there is really an eyesore. And to the extent that I would not recommend my children to go in there. It's not ADA compliant. So in the upcoming budget cycle, we'll be putting an item in there to go in and repair that. We've also been advised, because the Little League are selling things like hot dogs and other kind of food items, that their concession shack needs to be brought up to county health standards, because they're serving children. And while that's really their nickel, as a landlord, we have the responsibility to provide the basic hookups and those kinds of things. And so we're looking at that now and trying to get them at least compliant with county health standards. And we'll be talking during our budget process a little bit more about, we have a decision package put together about what we propose to do to bring those restrooms up to speed. What we've done on an interim basis is put in portable outhouses, so to speak, and they seem to be preferable to using the bathroom there, because the existing one being in such disrepair. So,
Are we gonna contract out the new repairs, or are we gonna do it with staff?
the thinking is having checked around, rather than, we're not in the bathroom business, that we would basically bring in a modular unit on the back of the truck and sit it in, demolish the existing bathroom and sit the new one in place. We've got some very favorable costs on that.
Very cost-effective.
That probably around the $30,000 mark, which surprised me. I didn't think they would be quite that cheap, but they supply restrooms and like facilities for state parks and county parks throughout the state. So they have a pretty good reputation in terms of what they do.
I have a question. So is the sewage pumped?
We have a drain fill out there.
Oh, so, okay.
And what we do is we come in a couple times a year and pump it.
Okay, so it's septic.
Yes.
It's not-
Yeah. It appears there's a security problem with respect to the facility. Is there something that can be addressed as far as that's concerned?
Yeah, well, one is, probably the biggest security issue is making sure that we continue to have increased activity.
Can we lock it? Can we lock it?
We do lock it at night, okay? One of the issues that we have is that we're the only park in the county that faces the Clackamas River that, with a boat ramp, that doesn't charge. We have basically taken the position that it's really open to the public. There has been some suggestions that maybe we ought to start charging. But quite frankly, when you start looking at the cost of hiring staff and all those things,
Managing money.
it doesn't cost justified at all, in terms of doing that. And of course, my personal bias is that if you can keep it open where people can use it, that's probably not a bad thing.
Is it possible to lock the bathrooms except for the time that it's being used by an actual event?
No, because it's a multiple use facility. And what I mean by that, in the summer months, it's used by the Little League quite extensively. We do have outside groups that want to use the pavilion down there. And in the winter months, like now, the Little League is starting up this weekend, fishermen use that ramp quite extensively. And so trying to figure the optimum time that you open and close and stuff, basically having a hard close in the evening is a better solution. And plus we then have the park patrolled by our security folks, first response. They drive through a couple times a night and make sure that everything's still in order. One of the other problems that we have is the park is accessible by river. And so in areas of the riverbank that are not under our control, you can beach boat and come onto the facility that way as well.
So, like Oregon City got money from the State Marine Board to build the restrooms and facility there that, it's by the River Shore Motel,
Right.
right? And
Right.
I don't know whether we, because I know that the State Fish and Game use that ramp all the time, that there are grants available to do some of that work.
And actually, the restroom that's there now, and the boat ramp that's there now, was gotten through the State Marine Board.
Was it?
Yeah, a grant from the State Marine Board. We have sent staff to seminars put on by the State Marine Board, and one of the things that we'll be looking at in the future is maybe reapplying for a grant to see if we can do that. The other thing that I didn't mention is, you know, the county sheriff uses the garage facility down there for storing all of their river rescue equipment. So it's a multi-purpose thing, and that's all stuff that we've done over the last several years to try to increase the activity and the visibility. We asked them to post the county sheriff's logo up so that people can see that. Of course, the only problem was that the sheriff got ripped off. So they went in and stole some of their marine equipment. So, but anyway, that's kind of what we've done thus far. So,
It's a pretty important spot for river rescue, because both the sheriff and the fire district launch from that spot.
right.
Before anything above the.
Yeah, and the sheriff has talked to us about maybe making a few other improvements there, but, you know, I think there's a balance that we have to meet here about how much ratepayer money are we using to really do non-water related activities. And thus far, even with the Little League, they have made a lot of improvements to the facility down there at their expense. And the sheriff has really done likewise. So what we're essentially giving them is the facility for nothing, but they're paying for the maintenance and upkeep.
Do you think additional lighting would help down there?
That's one of the things that we looked at when we did the generator project, and quite frankly, I think we missed the opportunity there, but that's something that we're certainly willing to and intend to go back and revisit. You know, because PGE has been very receptive with yard lighting and that thing, and they brought it to us attention when they were doing it. So.
Because they do that every day.
Yeah.
The new LED lighting program is really inexpensive.
Well, the
Do
other-
you have something to add?
I just wanted to say that we do get a Oregon Marine Board maintenance grant every year. We apply for that and we do get that. So some of the costs that we incur related specifically to the boat ramp and any facilities for boaters, we do get reimbursed. It doesn't reimburse all of the costs that we have there, but we do get some money every single year from the Oregon Marine Board to help offset the cost of having the park open.
I think it's about, what, 8,000 a year?
It's not quite that, I think it's like 3,600 a year. I think our costs are maybe closer to 8,000 a year.
Yeah. We've also cleared the bank down there with all the excess vegetation to help the visibility and stuff like that, so it's not hidden, so to speak. Okay.
Go ahead.
I met with Portland City Commissioner Nick Fish and spoke with him. He has been kind of making the rounds with their customers. It was a customer visit. But we also talked, it was a follow-up meeting that Commissioner Humbertson and I had almost over a year ago, where we have an 18-inch intertie between Portland and CRW. And there's been a request that we meet and talk about reviving that, or refreshing that line and bringing it up to standards. And so that meeting is scheduled, I think, next week, as I recall. I've also attended with several of the commissioners here the South Fork South Fork Water Board meeting on the 25th, and heard from their prior council about water rights. As you know, we have elections. We have 2 open positions, and Commissioner McNeil and Naomi Anger have filed for those, and they're running unopposed. The information technology update is that we're continuing to work with our partners at Sunrise on upgrading our systems. And the reminder to the board is we updated and was voted on and passed Board Policy 1.6 about reimbursements. So you might want to review those in terms of what's allowed and what's not, and the price and the process associated with that. And I think Commissioner Humberson gave a kind of an update of what our meeting was in terms of executive session, and there was also a work session where we talked about the Carver Bridge and the discussions that we had with the Beaver Creek hamlet. So that's the end of my report.
Thank you. Does the commissioners have anything to bring before the board? Just a reminder, get your
Expense reports.
expense reports in on time, so staff can take care of that. So with that, we'll adjourn the regular meeting and go into a work session.